and it is also now live on YouTube.
Awesome.
Okay, I see a bunch of folks trickling in. Welcome, everyone. So we have Ingmar Ramirez from Sovryn as part of their support for the 1 million watts RSK hackathon that we've been running, and looking forward to seeing the submissions come through today. We've already seen some really interesting ones, so it's going to be pretty exciting. So Ingmar, why don't you kick it off with a quick introduction? And I guess just before you do, we've also got Mike. Mike, I always forget to give you the the intro, but Mike's account manager from RSK has been instrumental in sort of organizing these partner highlights. So glad to have you here as well.
Thanks.
Okay, Ingmar, why don't you take it away?
Alrighty, thank you, Harish. Shout outs to Covalent, shout outs to RSK for running this. My name is Ingmar, aka Ingalandia from Sovryn. I help with partnerships and integrations for the protocol, and I'm here to just give a presentation on what Sovryn is all about through this presentation that I have, and I can do a real-time demo of the application at work, which I think you guys would find interesting. So I will get started by sharing my screen. Here we go. All right, so hopefully you guys can see that.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So let's get started. Okay, Sovryn, Bitcoin with superpowers. So the project began about a year or so ago with the premise that Bitcoin is true sovereign money. It's permissionless value that you can send around the world to anybody who has internet. But in order to use Bitcoin for lending, for trading and borrowing, you have to have an intermediary, and it kind of goes against the whole Bitcoin ethos because Bitcoin is all about cutting the middlemen. And so this project emerged as a way to use smart contracts on top of Bitcoin so that you can perform more complex financial activities without the need for KYC, without the need for a centralized exchange or any centralized point of failure. And it's been going on for about a year now, and the way we do it is through using the RSK chain. And the RSK chain has suited us very well because, as we all know, it's a Bitcoin sidechain that is secured by Bitcoin proof of work miners and allows for Solidity smart contracts. Anything that you see in the Ethereum ecosystem, from Uniswap, Maker, Compound, can be forked right over to the RSK chain, almost entirely seamlessly. So I'll just go to the next slide. Here's more on utilizing RSK. The RSK chain has about 50 to 80% of Bitcoin's hash rate, making it almost as secure as the Bitcoin blockchain, and it is miles and miles ahead of even the closest blockchain in terms of hash rate. So the cool thing about it is you can perform these transactions in Sovryn using Bitcoin or Bitcoin on the second layer. So you wouldn't need to buy Ether, you wouldn't need to buy Solana to trade Bitcoin. You don't even need the Sovryn's governance token to use the platform. So what can we do on Sovryn? One of the things I like about Sovryn is in one single spot, one single place, you can trade, you can swap, you can leverage, you can borrow. It's kind of like Uniswap, Compound, Maker, all in one place, similar to an operating system like Mac, where it's not just a calculator, it's not just a word processor, it's not just a browser. It is an all-in-one place for your Bitcoin financial needs. It even offers a way to onboard your Bitcoin onto the second layer, so that you can perform these transactions with extremely low gas fees compared to other ecosystems. Okay. So who runs Sovryn? Sovryn is a protocol that needs consistent updates and is constantly getting new features. So Sovryn is a distributed collective of people around the world making decisions, making updates to the code. And the way to do this is through the use of a coordination token called SOV that allows for creating proposals, submitting them on chain with new code to implement. And just so long as there's a majority voting in favor of it, then the code gets executed on chain and implemented into the protocol. So the really cool thing about the way the governance token works is you need to stake it in order to have voting power. So you can't just borrow a bunch of SOV and then swing a vote and then give back the SOV. Governing power is given to long-term stakers. So the longer you stake, the more governing power you have. So it's very long-term focused. It also allows you to delegate your voting power to someone that you trust will make the right decisions and will be actively voting on these proposals as they come in. We also have a public forum, forum.sovryn.app, where these proposals get drafted, where they get discussed and debated, and where anyone can just come in and join the discussion completely free. There's no barriers. All you got to do is just register and join the discussion. So you don't necessarily need a lot of SOV tokens to make an impact. You can come in with a great idea, and if other stakeholders get behind you, like, you can certainly make things happen. So here's more on what you can do with SOV. You can stake it and earn fees from the protocol. You can vote on proposals, and often SOV stakeholders are given preferential access to upcoming token sales, such as on the Origins platform. We recently had an Origin sale for the Babelfish token sale, and there was special treatment for the long-term SOV holders. So a little bit on the data. There's 34,000 active wallets that have used Sovryn. Right now, there's about 140 million total value locked across the staking, the lending contracts, as well as the AMMs. And the AMMs are basically the liquidity pools. If you guys know Uniswap, they're 50-50 two-sided pools. So that's how much it contains. There are $10 million worth of stablecoins being borrowed, and daily transaction volume fluctuates anywhere between 5 and 11 million. Today, I just checked, it's around 11 million. So it's a peak day today. All right, so we've got plenty of things planned ahead. Sovryn is moving at light speed. I feel like we are 7 to 10 projects in one. There's so many initiatives happening. Everything from perpetual swaps, the Origins platform, which will be its own launchpad with its own DAO and its own community and its own leadership that will function as a sub protocol of Sovryn, where they can make their own decisions, but Sovryn, as the mother protocol, has some degree of oversight to the direction of the Origins platform. We've got layer 2 scaling solutions underway. Shout outs to RSK. We've got Bitcoin-backed stablecoins. So completely permissionless, backed by Bitcoin. Similar in style to Maker's DAI token. Before it branched off from ETH to other coins, this will be an entirely Bitcoin-backed stablecoin. We've got cool NFTs, comics, and art that occasionally comes out from our awesome design team. As you notice, the art throughout the presentation. We're trying to put together a cool graphic novel that basically tells the story of Sovryn. We've got hackathons coming up, and every 2 weeks we've got a community call that I myself lead. So you know, if you would like, just join the Discord. Thursdays at 12 noon, we have community calls where we deliver updates, and we talk about you know, the new tech, new adoption initiatives, and strategy. And you know, usually at the end we have 10-15 minutes open to anyone who wants to ask questions to the core team. So that's more or less it on what Sovryn is about, and I can get into the fun stuff and show the product live. Also follow us on Twitter, Sovryn BTC. So I will head over to the website, live.sovryn.app. Here's how it looks. If, let's say, I wanted to go to swap, and I wanted to swap RBTC for some SOV tokens, I would simply input the amount of RBTC I would want to trade, let's say 0.003 RBTC. That would amount to 5.8 SOV tokens, and then I would just click swap, and then that would be more or less all I would have to do. So I'll just do that live for you guys. And then I can view the Explorer. The transaction is underway. And the cool thing about the RSK chain, it's 30-second block time, so usually pretty fast and extremely low in gas. In, you know, usually it's like 100 sats or 50 sats to perform these transactions. So a lot more scalable and a lot cheaper than what you see happening in the Ethereum ecosystem. All right, so I can just let that sit for a while. I'll show you guys the margin trade section. So here we have the chart on the right hand side. Let me just minimize this. On the right hand side, we have the pair that you would like to perform the leverage trade on. Let's say in this case, Bitcoin. I can choose to use Bitcoin or XUSD as my collateral. XUSD, by the way, is a basket of other stablecoins all wrapped together into one, so that we defragment all the liquidity and put it under one umbrella. So XUSD is backed by DAI, by BUSD, USDC, and Tether from other chains. So you're actually able to bridge your Tether, for example, from Ethereum into the Sovryn protocol and have it wrapped under XUSD. So leverage, I can choose up to 5x how much I want to leverage. Let's say 2x in this case. And then you can choose the amount of Bitcoin you'd like to leverage. Here are some shortcuts: 10%, 25% of the amount in your wallet. And yeah, simple enough. You choose whether you want to long it or whether you want to short it. For demonstration purposes, I'll just click long. So here is the position that I'm agreeing to enter, and this is the entry price that it displays before you confirm the transaction. And let's say just for fun, I'll enter this position. So the position will show down here once the transaction confirms. The position size, so basically what I entered at, the entry price, the liquidation price. The liquidation price is basically if the price of Bitcoin, all right, so here it is right here. So the liquidation price would be 32,750 XUSD. So I'm basically betting that it won't hit that price. So if it goes above the entry price, I'll start to gain at a 2x rate. However, if the price of Bitcoin falls to 32,000, then the position will start to get liquidated, at least a portion of it to cover for the collateral. So unrealized profit and loss means if I exit now, this is how much I would gain or lose. And the interest APY is the fee that I'm paying for holding to this position. You're also able to add to the margin in case you want to add more collateral. And here you can close the position at any time. So I find this pretty simple and easy to use. It's actually the first platform that I ever used for leverage trading. And I'll just hop over to, let's see, lend. So here you can lend any of the following cryptocurrencies. This is what you want to look at, the APY that you would get annually for lending these out. They tend to fluctuate. I remember like a week ago, Bitcoin, the APY was in the double digits because of the demand that the market currently had. And yeah, simple enough. All you need to do is just deposit. You choose the amount and then you click deposit. Here we have Yield Farm, which similar to Uniswap, has mostly two-sided pools. So like the SOV RBTC pool, you can deposit, let's say I wanted to deposit the SOV that I just purchased. It already calculates the amount of Bitcoin that you would need to also put into the pool. You click deposit and then you start earning rewards. A couple of these liquidity pools, such as the RUSDT and the RBTC pool, you'll notice that it's not exactly 50-50 because it's actually single-sided. So you can lend, your Tether or Bitcoin into the pool, earn fees that way, and yeah, participate in liquidity mining campaigns without having the impermanent loss exposure. And here we have BITOCRACY. So this is where you would go if you wanted to participate in proposals or the governance discussion. So let's say I go to forum.sovryn.app. Here are all the threads that are happening. You have some draft SIPs on the side. SIP stands for Sovereign Improvement Proposal. And on the left, you have just different categories, categories of discussions going on. So BITOCRACY is basically the Bitcoin term for a DAO that is run entirely on Bitcoin. So you have draft proposals here. The general commons is like a general discussion place where people bring up new ideas, ask questions, things like that. And this is something that anyone can basically participate in. I'll head back to the main site. And if I wanted to, let's say, stake my tokens, I would head over to the staking page. And let's see. If I wanted to stake my tokens here, I would basically, yeah, here you go. Add new stake. Let's say I wanted to stake my SOV that I just purchased. Choose how long I want to stake them for. I pick the year and the day. So it would basically be locked in the system for a period of time. So let's say I'd pick the year 2024. So this multiplies my voting power so that instead of my SOV being worth 5.8, the voting power is just about 10x that, because I'm staking for multiple years at a time. So the cool thing about the governance is that it grants higher preference to the decision making for people who are long-term stakers. So it gives an advantage, regardless of how many tokens that you have. You have a huge advantage over potentially others that stake for fewer, for less time with more tokens. And here you can see the proposals that are currently live. I don't think there are any proposals that are out now. So yeah, you can view what happened on past proposals, how many were for, how many were against, and the context of the proposal. So I think that's mostly it. Okay, I'll show one last thing. You can check the portfolio of your wallet. So right now my wallet has this much Bitcoin, this much SOV. Let's say I have Bitcoin, but not RBTC, which is Bitcoin on RSK. You can choose to buy some with fiat, like with your credit card, so that instantly the Bitcoin shows up in the system. Or let's say you have Bitcoin already, but you want to move it to the second layer. So we have what's called fast BTC, and it's a way to just quickly onboard your Bitcoin to the second layer. So if you send 0.1 Bitcoin to fast BTC, you get 0.1 RBTC within 5 to 10 minutes. And this is what it would look like. It would generate a Bitcoin address that you send your Bitcoin to, and then you would just wait up to an hour just to make sure. But usually it shows up as RBTC in your MetaMask wallet. And the cool thing about this platform is, let's say you don't have RSK added to your MetaMask. You can simply, let's say I have it set to Ethereum right now. I can go to Engage Wallet. I can choose between hardware, mobile, browser. By the way, you can use Sovryn directly with your Ledger or Trezor hardware wallets, as well as several mobile wallets. These are some examples. You got Descent, Math, Wallet, R Wallet, and Defiant. And browser, you can also choose Liquidity. That's also a great wallet because it allows you to swap your Bitcoin that's on it directly with RBTC. So let's choose MetaMask. So it says, okay, you're in the wrong network. You can just simply click configure RSK and MetaMask, and then it just switches the network for you. And then your RBTC will show there. So do we have any questions for everyone? We have a couple minutes left. Happy to answer. Let's see. Any questions in the chat? Thank you, Michal.
Yeah, that was a really great demo, and you kind of get the sense with the Sovryn interface. It's really well designed. When you were doing the margin example, I was actually quite impressed at how easy it is to set up your margin trade. Yeah, it's actually really cool.
Yeah, it's simple enough. I think that what's that?
Do you want to maybe also touch on how you could mint XUSD from here, because it's also done within the portfolio, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, actually. So if I had some Tether, which I don't right now, I would just click convert to XUSD, and what it does is you input the amount of RUST that you would want to convert to XUSD, and then it would just convert it. It's similar feel to swapping between RUSDT and XUSD. It's a similar effect. So yeah, the goal of XUSD is to capture as much of the liquidity from the stablecoins and unify them so that you can use the same stablecoin, for all the operations in the Sovryn system. Because it's easier to work with one stablecoin than 50 different ones with different levels of liquidity. Yeah, so that's the goal of the Babelfish project. Right now, fish holders are able to govern the Babelfish protocol, like the XUSD basket protocol, and that's what you would use to vote on proposals in the ecosystem. So the RAF token, I think Michael would know better than me.
Yeah, so
Michael, do you want to answer it?
Yeah, sure. So the RIF token is essentially it's to support the RSK, it's infrastructure framework. Let's call it that. There's a lot of services being built out which will consume the RIF token. At the moment, those are currently being built out. So keep on the lookout. There'll be lots of comms which get sent out for support of RIF. We do plan on adding RIF, and we will be raising a SIP proposal as well for margin trading in the Sovryn Sovryn platform itself. You can get RIF from Binance and a couple of other exchanges. But in terms of usage, those services are being built out at the stage, so that the goal is to have this decentralized community of not just like an example would be RNS, which is let's say the Ethereum name service, but on RSK, you'd use RIF to purchase those. So yeah, keep on the lookout. There's a lot more comms which will be released shortly.
Cool. So yeah, I'll leave you guys with this. If you're a developer, feel free to hit me up. My username is Ingalandia on Telegram. I just typed it in the chat. It's also my Twitter handle. If you want to get involved in any capacity, if you want to get involved in community management, marketing, content creation, development of our future projects, please, yeah, contact me. We are in need of new hands on deck. So thanks everyone for listening.
Awesome, Ingmar. Thanks so much for the presentation. Really well done. Mike, any last closing marks here?
No, all good. Just great to have the Sovryn team on board. Really good presentation, Ingmar.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Harish and Michael.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks everyone for attending.